I just want to talk to you a little bit about Arsenal. That's obviously their best chance at the Champions League for next season, gone begging. It leaves them in a really difficult place now, doesn't it, with the run-in?
It does. I think Arteta's done a good job since he's been there. I think it was a slight surprise, obviously being at home, going out of that game. But the job he's done, I feel like they're playing with a smile on their face now. I feel like there's a bit more character about them, there's a bit more team spirit. And hopefully this is just a blip from the other night. They had their chances, but didn't take. I mean, what a goal that is, by the way.
For me, again, I agree with Crouchy. I think, you know, there's improvement. There's definitely more organisation and more of a spirit. But I think you're not going to change it overnight. And the frailties are always there with Arsenal. We've seen this Arsenal team for the last 10, 12 years, a group of players that let you down in certain situations, and that's just what happened. I think, for me, this is a long-term project. This isn't something that's going to get sorted out 2-3 years where we'll see them bounce back into Champions League places. If anything, they need to get rid of about 5 or 6, 7 players and bring in new recruits, but they've got to get the recruitment right. Yeah,
the signs have been good. It's a big rebuilding process. I mean, where they were at the start of the season, I think they've come on since Arteta's come in, but it's a long process. They're nowhere near where an Arsenal team
And when Joe talks about recruitment, that's part of the process, a key part of the process, and it's much more difficult if you're in the Europa League. And it's not just about bringing players in. You know, are you going to keep Aubameyang if you're not in the Champions League?
Well, if I'm Aubameyang, I'll be looking out the door because he's a player that needs to be playing at a very, very top level. He needs to be in the Champions League where he's not played enough years in the Champions League to cement himself as a top player, which is what he actually is because his stats and his numbers add up with anyone. I think that the process Arsenal have got to go through, I think they've got to go back to the days when they're bringing players through, which they are. Saka, the left-back, I think it's different class.
Yeah.
But also, they need to find these gems that they were finding 20 years ago. And it's a long build. Arsenal will always be able to bring players in because of the name, because it's in London, and the stature of the club. Players will want to play for Arsenal. Traditionally, they play good football. But again, I just think it's a long road for them. I think they're miles behind Chelsea and Tottenham, Man United, Man City. You know, Man United seem to be coming back. It's a long road for Arsenal. And
in terms of points, it feels like a long road, but for the Champions League next season, it's only 4 points now behind 5th, which at the moment gets you into the Champions League. I mean, they could be the really big winners from this Man City situation, couldn't they? Sitting 9th, they could still finish Champions League.
That could be hugely beneficial for them. No one seems to want to finish 4th or 5th at the moment. Lots of teams inconsistent in and around them, and I just felt that Arsenal, other than that blip the other night, I feel like they've picked up a touch. Manchester United look good. I mean, Chelsea are inconsistent, Spurs the same. So I wouldn't write Arsenal off.